Film Club.
Thank you very much for joining us for a very special episode of Film Club. Andy, it has been 50 episodes since we last did one of these because this is our 200th episode.
It's mad, and I can't believe just how much we've gone through.
Completely agree. And there's been some incredible films. And as we like to do every 50 episodes, we're going to take a look back at what is essentially the last year's worth of Film Club and take our top fives. So, would you like to start us off with your number 5?
Absolutely honourable mentions. I'm just going to go with them first, which is Whiplash. Absolutely one of the best films you'll see. And the Godfather trilogy. Godfather 1, 2, like some of my favourite films ever. Now, my top 5. So number 5 is Dead Poets Society.
Oh, what a choice.
Yeah, this introduced me to, it's a film I've been meaning to watch for a while. It introduced me to reined back Robin Williams, something similar to the one with the Matt Damon,
Good Will Hunting.
Exactly, yeah. So something like that, but absolutely, oh, Captain, my Captain, like, what a quote, what a line. And it's just, I'm so glad I watched it. For people who haven't seen Robin Williams films, I will point them in that direction. If there's one film that really kind of points him out for me, Dead Poets Society is definitely up as one of his best performances. So, yeah, great film.
That is an incredible first choice. So, my number 5. I also have some honourable mentions. I'd rather put mine a little bit towards the end. But what I went with for number 5 was Rear Window. Rear Window.
I thought this would be on your list.
Is, if memory serves, it is the first Hitchcock film that we did on the channel. And it's one of those films that captivates an element of me which loves a limitation within a film. It asks your audience, I'm going to put this character in this room. He has a view. And with that limitation, with the fact that we're not going to go into these other apartments, we're not going to find out directly what's going on inside there, you're going to experience this whole thing from the point of view of James Stewart, who, by the way, just an incredible, incredible actor. But you're going to experience this whole film is going to be you with James Stewart for the full 90-minute runtime. And we're also going to throw in the fact that Hitchcock is this like master of suspense, and we're gonna slowly build up this creeping feeling until something might or might not occur. Like, which one's it going to be? And then wrap it all up in this gorgeously shot film. Incredible.
Well played. I knew this would be on your list. I didn't think it'd be 5th. I thought it'd be lower. Higher, sorry. Yeah, it's opposite, reverse. So, my number 4 is one I partly watched before. I got to rewatch it again. We had a lovely special episode with Natalie, and it's Amélie. Amélie is a film full of joy, happiness, colour, emotion, the amazing French language, and just a narration to top it off that's just superb. It's a lovely film. It really is. It encapsulates the heart and the goodwill of humanity, and it does it so well, and it does it in such a quirk that it's a great film, and it's something I was meant to watch for ages, and I was gutted that I never got around to it. I was waiting for a good moment, and I'm so glad we did it in Film Club, because it's I don't really like foreign films that much. This is like probably one of the best ones I've seen out there. And Audrey Tautou is fantastic. Her performance is amazing, and I love everything about it. Great film.
It's like one of those films where I think it's so positive. Like, it's so positive. And normally film is sort of like it draws its tension and it draws its drama out of tragedy and difficult times. And Amélie almost avoids all of that. It's incredible.
Definitely. Very optimistic film.
So, number 4 for me, I really went back and forth on this one, and ultimately I decided to chicken out because I went with Godfather 1 and 2. I know that is a complete cop-out. In fact, it's a Coppola out. But it's the fact that The Godfather Part 1 has one of the most stunning Marlon Brando performances you've ever seen, but also Francis Ford Coppola uses it in a way which isn't, it's not saturating the film. Because one of the things that people don't often tell you about The Godfather, if you hadn't seen it, and obviously quite, I guess, infamously, for many, many years, I avoided watching The Godfather just so we could actually have it here on the channel for the first time. And one of the things people don't mention about The Godfather Part 1 and later parts, but it's the Pacino performance. Everyone goes straight to the Brando performance, and it is stunning, it's brilliant, it's wonderful. But the Al Pacino performance is also equally brilliant, but more subdued.
And 100%, especially in Godfather 1.
if you watch sort of like the development of the family throughout the Godfather Part One, and then you move over to Godfather Part Two, not only do you bring in De Niro getting that young version of Marlon Brando, but you also get that sort of the continued twisting and poking, and I love how the family gets pulled into the light of day, and then suddenly there's this whole trial around them, and it's almost cliche at this point, right, to say how good The Godfather is, but it is. It's genuinely some of the most like strict, classic, just well-rounded filmmaking to make you enthralled in a crime family's inner workings.
One of my favourite parts about The Godfather is how it's not necessarily a happy story. It's one that you can kind of see the circling pool of downhill that it ends up being, and just the devolution of Al Pacino's character. I'm so glad this is on your list, and you have to put them together because it's on my top 10 list, easily potentially top 5 ever.
Absolutely. So, Andy, give us your number 3.
I'm gonna. You might be a bit shocked at this, but Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, hell yes!
You're probably shocked because the week before we did, I can't remember his other film, and I really despised it.
We did They Live.
They Live, yeah, and I really didn't like that. And I came into Carpenter's, another Carpenter's, and I had my friend Tom. He's a big Carpenter fan. I was like, oh, which one would you go for out of these? Kind of which should we review? And he was giving us a list, and he said, oh, Big Trouble in Little China. That's definitely one to watch. And I was hesitant. Anyway, I watched it, and I loved every single bit of it. I loved it. It's fantastic. It throws the whole kind of the macho hero on its head, and it becomes like the goof, as we said, the side character of the whole film. It's got this lovely kind of hidden element to it, like these raiding characters that are all in the background, and it's just in the middle of a city kind of scape, and it's just a fantastic, fun, exceptionally fun film. You throw in straight away, kind of what you're expecting, and it was Kurt Russell in the car just being a bit of a doofus, but then it just escalates into this madness, but at the same time, this madness that's like got no plot holes or anything like that. It's fun all the way through. Fantastic film. I'm so glad. This arguably is one of my favourite Carpenter films.
It's an excellent one. I know that for They Live we diverged a little bit more, but I think both of us have had such a blast with Big Trouble in Little China, and I think that it's a film I can't wait to go back to.
Same.
So, my number 3, this is where we get into the real problematic part of the list, because I struggled, especially with the order of these. For me, I went with The Seventh Seal.
I knew this 100% would be on your list. I knew it. I saw it in the last 50, and I thought, yeah, Andy's going to pick that. I remember how much you spoke about this after we watched it. It
actually came, if I remember correctly, recommended from Damien Beatty, who's actually been one of the channel's strongest commenters. And hello, Damien, I'm sure you are watching today because you are with us every single week, and it's been an absolute blast chatting to you over the last year.
Yeah, definitely.
And sort of engaging in that cinematic conversation. But more importantly, Damien brought us one of the best films, not only from Ingmar Bergman, but I think one of the best films of its decade, because we're in that sort of 1950s era where cinema was starting to break through into a high art form. Previously, it had always been considered a low art, and The Seventh Seal really is, for a lot of people who want to study it and you want to break it apart, and you want to observe it on an aesthetic level, or do you want to observe it on a literary level, it allows you to do that. It's a film that some of its imagery has become iconic, and it's not just iconic because of the circumstances of the time. It's iconic because he tapped into something that is fundamentally human, but explored it in a very intellectual way.
Yeah, what better symbolism than playing a game of chess with the devil, with death himself, with the Grim Reaper. Fantastic.
Loved it. Absolutely loved it. So, we're in the top 2. Go on, Andy.
This is fucking tough. This is tough, and I struggle between the top 2. The reason this next film is number 2 is biased. It's pure me being biased. When I watched this film, I thought it was going to be the top. My second film is 12 Angry Men. This is easily one of the best films we've ever watched in Film Club.
Can I stop you for a second?
Go on.
That is also my number 2.
I'm curious to see what your number 1 is. It's hard to describe a film that really has that kind of tension, suspension. it lives up to its name because you're literally watching 12 Angry Men of different kind of personalities that combine together, that contrast against one another, that shout, that scream, that hide behind others. It's a film of I can't really explain any better than it is one of the best films we've ever done on Film Club. And I really hope that people who haven't seen it, that listen to this episode, go out there and watch 12 Angry Men, because you won't be disappointed. You look at these stunning performances, you look at the stunning, I mean, I remember you talking to Andy about this thumbnail of this amazing scene when it happens, and there's absolutely no words, considering this film's all set in one room, and the amount of dialogue in this film, the one of the best scenes out there is a complete lack of dialogue, and it's all about body language and body movement. It's just got everything. I'm devastated it's not number one, but there's a reason why it's not number one.
It's a film that, very similar to when I was talking about Rear Window, it imposes a very strict rule set on itself. It gives you 12 people in one room and a lot of philosophical debate. And there is nothing more simply entertaining, and there is nothing more almost anti-cinematic about that premise. But somehow Sidney Lumet manages to make it engaging from second one all the way through to when the credits roll. There is not a moment of that film that lulls. That film, upon watching it in Film Club, I agree, it's one of the best films we've done in here. It immediately shoots into my top 10 list somewhere. Immediately. It's incredible.
I agree.
So, there's 12 Angry Men. I love that we both put it at number 2. Andy, it is time though. You have to bless us with your number 1.
It is biased, but this is something that I will always revert back to. It's something I indirectly use for a lot of my life. I have so many memories of this film indirectly, and it's Daft Punk's Interstellar 5555. So the 5 egret of the 5-star fiefdom. I probably got that wrong.
Incredible.
It's just, I listen to Discovery all the time. Discovery is one of my favorite albums ever. Daft Punk, one of my favorite albums ever, artists ever. When we went to, when you went away to America, and we had our road trip together, going around Monument Valley and the Mexican Hat in Utah, listening to the Alive 2007 album, and the way it picks up with some of Discovery's best tunes, seeing that come together in a film and seeing how superbly animated it is. The story fits together. There's no, it's just a music video after music video. As you said in the episode where we were watching the music episode videos as kids, and actually it has some narrative throughout the whole thing. Everything combines together and does it superbly well to the actual mood, the music and the lyrics. It all comes together, and just this stunning film that's so artsy, so artistic. It's so, what's the word? Not ahead of its time, but it is. They've gone out there, Daft Punk, and said, "Yeah, fuck it, let's make a film, a Discovery, and let's go and work with some of Japan's top animators and build this fucking incredible, superb nod and ode to the album, the amazing album that is Discovery." It is biased, but it's me, and I fucking love Discovery. I love Daft Punk, and I love Interstellar 5555.
I couldn't agree more. Interstellar 5555 is one of the most unique films that we have done on the channel. I thoroughly enjoyed visiting it that week, and it's a film that has stayed with me. It's a film that uses such foundationally interesting music, but also brings so much of its own elements to it. Love it. Yeah, that is an excellent pick. Before I go for my number one, I want to give a couple more honorable mentions here. The one that I honestly desperately wanted to get on this list, and I just couldn't quite make it, was Dog Day Afternoon.
Oh yeah, I'm behind you in that. That's a very, very good film. Very good.
And then in a similar way, I thought Sorcerer deserved a spot on the list somewhere. Somehow just got knocked off. There's a couple of films that we definitely touched on this year that maybe it's because I had seen them before, but they just slipped a little bit further down the list. Things like No Country for Old Men, Whiplash you mentioned earlier, Hell or High Water that I really wanted to get on. But
Hell or High Water was good shout.
Some lovely
I know
films.
what your number one is. I know what your number one is.
You absolutely know what my number one is. My number one film for this year is Rashomon.
Definitely.
Simply because the more I watch Kurosawa, the more I utterly adore Kurosawa. And it's at this point in that 1950s period where Kurosawa is thoroughly exploring the Jedi Geki while working alongside Toshiro Mifune. And the fact that Rashomon went on to sort of give its name to the Rashomon effect. The fact that it had that impact on cinema. Rashomon is a film that, from just shifting its point of view and from shifting some elements within a script, it can be epic, it can be grand, it can be scary, it can be funny. Like, it can be really funny. It's a film that is thoroughly Kurosawa, and it's a film that I would happily sit down at any moment and watch. If someone said to me right now, here's a collection of 20 films, I'll tell you what, here's 50 films worth of episodes that you've just done across Film Club, and Rashomon sits at the top because there is something special, there is something small, there's something constrained, there's something laser focused about Rashomon. I loved it.
What better scene than outside the gates of Rashomon with just that heavy pouring rain as he tells a story of despair. It's what a fantastic bit of cinematography that was.
The imagery of that film is burnt into my head. Incredible.
Kurosawa was just amazing.
So anyway, there are our top 5 films from the last 50 episodes of Film Club. If you have been watching, then thank you so much for watching. Let us know down in the comments below what your top 5 films from this year have been. We genuinely cannot wait to get started on next year. This was the hardest list to make so far. I want next year to be even harder. We're going to start with next year's set of 50 films by visiting something that is very, very special to me, because we are dipping into Kurosawa once again, funny enough, with Yojimbo.
It's like a couple of years back, I think we came off this episode and went straight into the Seven Samurai. So I can't wait for this. I just, speaking about Rashomon then, I'm looking forward to Yojimbo even more.
Yojimbo is incredible. I cannot wait. We'll see you all then. Thank you so much for watching.
Yeah, cheers for the past year, guys. Take care.